Back with me is Ali Velshi, and joining me now is Arthur Laffer, former economic policy advisor to President Ronald Reagan. Thank you guys for being here. I've been looking forward to this debate all morning.
Thank you, Joy.
And Art Laffer, I'm going to go to you first on this plan, because here it is. You probably can't see it here in your monitor, but this is the one-page plan. Its goals are grow the economy and create millions of jobs. That sounds nice. Simplify our burdensome tax code, provide tax relief to American families, especially middle-income families, and lower the business tax rate from one of the highest, one of the world to the lowest. Do you see in this one page any specifics on how any of that gets done?
Yes, I do. First of all, though, I don't want to be against Ali Velshi. I've been on a number of shows with Ali, and I think he's wonderful. And I think we've all sought the truth, beauty, and the American way all the time. So, yes, the one thing that's really important, Joy, is to cut the corporate tax rate. And what he says specifically time and time again is from 35% to 15%. That, to me, is enough specifics for the president to put forth to create jobs, output, employment, and production, which is the whole goal that we all have. Is the best form of welfare is still a good, high-paying job, and America needs economic growth badly, as Ali said in the last segment, and I think he's right, and I think this is the way to go. Cut the corporate tax rate to 15% and let the Congress deal with all the other stuff.
Ali Velshi, your witness.
Well, so the flattery gets Art everywhere, and he's fantastic, and I love him too. I have a goal to get from 195 pounds to 180 pounds. I've had this goal for several years, but it remains a goal and an aspiration. There isn't actually a plan, and it's not as easy to get there as I would have hoped, and it's going to actually cost me something to get to that point. And that's what this looks like to me. Now, the only difference between my plan and Donald Trump's plan is that I'm actually honest about weighing 195 pounds. There is not many companies in America actually pay 35%. It's actually, depending on how you measure it, 27 or 28%. And I don't disagree with Art that it would be even better to lower tax rates, because everybody wants to pay lower taxes, businesses and individuals. But let me just say it this way. Companies have been so profitable in America and have so much money right now that, generally speaking, particularly large companies, they can expand if they wanted to. They've got the ability to access credit or the cash to build another plant and employ more people. There are reasons why they don't do that, and there are complicated reasons, but it's not a given that by reducing their taxes, they suddenly will do that. So what you may end up with is just a hole. You collect less in tax money, and it doesn't actually stimulate the economy the way the president and Art hope it would. And
yeah, Art, let me ask you that question, because if I'm a corporation, right, and you lower my tax rate, why wouldn't I just pocket the money or use it to pay even more dividends to my CEO, who's getting paid mostly in stock?
Well, let me just respond to Ali's first comment about the effective tax rate, which he's completely correct. In fact, he really overestimates the effective tax rate. They have it down about 13+% as the effective tax rate.
Then why do they need to lower it?
Oh, because these are all people who use loopholes, shelters, tax evasion. They have different corporate forms. They keep the money abroad, all of that stuff. When you lower the tax rate, those shelters become less attractive, and they decide to actually pay their taxes. I mean, the numbers are very clear if you look at the academic literature, that if you cut that tax rate, the shelters will all go down, and revenues will actually go up, as will jobs.
Well, that's the part that we're missing, is this sudden, where you make that connection to suddenly they will use that extra money to hire more people. Isn't the experience that we've had in the economy is if you give these corporations more money, they simply pocket the money. They don't hire more people, they pocket the money.
In 1986, we cut the highest rate from 46% to 34%. We created an enormous boom in all the Democrats.
Can you compare that to a marginal tax? Let me let Ali answer that question.
Sure,
Ali,
go ahead, Ali.
Why wouldn't they just pocket the money? We're not talking about a dramatic tax reduction.
One of the great examples that what I love using with Art, because he's so smart, he's been around for a long time, is Kansas, which has really employed Art's idea. And the idea there is they would take tax rates down, and it would create jobs. Former Governor Sam Brownback said it would be 4 years and they'd see 100,000 jobs. What ended up happening is they lowered taxes on Art's advice specifically, and a state of about 3 million people created just 28,000 jobs between January of 2014 and the same time in 2017. So we're a year short, but we're way below that. Over in Nebraska, which has a yet smaller population of 2 million people and didn't cut taxes, their job growth over the same period was 35,000. So I don't know there's no evidence that if you cut corporate taxes, or that it results in job growth at this level. Art very wisely cites 1986 and a much bigger cut, that's not actually what we're talking about. I do want to point out, Art, we are old friends. I don't know why you didn't take issue with how fat I was, but I appreciate you not discussing my weight.
Well, I think you look chubby and cute. I mean, what can I say, Allie? A chubby Allie is a very, very nice Allie.
Allie looks great. And I want you to answer his question, because if you look at the experience of Kansas, they did what you said. They cut the corporate tax rate, and it did not result in job creation. What happened?
Well, you know, Kansas is an example of itself. They had a lot of other things. It was a small cut, but I don't want to do that. If you look at all the states and stop doing just anecdotes, if you look at all of the states, those states with the lowest tax rates have the best economic growth.
California,
those with the highest tax rates.
California and New York. California and New York have phenomenal economic
Let's look at California and New York. Let's look at also Florida. Let's look at Nevada. Let's look at Tennessee. Let's look at all of the states together, not just anecdotes.
Would you argue
Joy,
that Florida has a better economy than California or New York? Because I don't think it does. I used to live in Florida.
Oh, of course it does. It has much better growth. So does Nevada. I mean, so does Tennessee. Tennessee compared to Kentucky. I did a book called The Wealth of States, Joy, which looks at all 50 states over the last 50 years. And if you look at it, it's unambiguous that those states that have lowered tax rates have done better. Those that have adopted the income tax have done worse.
Allie?
Please.
I think there's a fair. Art's good at this because I think he lives in Tennessee. He's from California. He likes to make these comparisons.
Yeah.
Let's go back to, you know, I used to point out a few years ago that Mozambique has the best growth rate in the world. It was about 17%, right? But Mozambique's a tiny little country with a tiny little GDP. So when you take New York and California and you add in Florida and Nevada,
Texas,
you know, like you said about Kansas, you don't like to use that example because there's a lot of other things going on. This isn't necessarily apples to apples.
Yes, it is. You really can do apples to apples, Allie, please. And if you go to my book on it, which it's 400 pages, that I try to do completely across the board, look at the last 50 years, it's clear. Yes, there are examples that go one way or the other. If I looked at Illinois and Connecticut or Wisconsin or Michigan.
And that sounds like it's a wash. Before we go,
it's not.
I don't see the evidence of it. I don't see the evidence. They don't just talk about money. But I want to get to very quickly one quick thing we have to talk about too, because the other thing that Donald Trump is talking about is getting rid of the estate tax, which would definitely benefit the Trump family, and you see that definitely benefiting the very, very super rich. How do you justify the idea of cutting that kind of taxes on maybe 400,000 very rich people, including the president himself?
Because you get them to stop using tax shelters and stuff and actually pay their taxes and not stop working. I'm 77 years old, Joy.
It's getting rid of a tax on them.
No, but Joy, I'm 77 years old as of a couple days ago, and I work for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. That's why I work. Now, if you take away that ability of me to give that money to my grandchildren, I'll just quit, and you'll lose a lot of revenues.
Allie, I'm going to give you the last word.
I don't think I'm going to live to see the day that Art Laffer quits. The bottom line is that is a remarkable wealth transfer. When the president made his speech the other day, one of the first things he says is, I'm going to enact laws that are going to hurt me. They're going to help other people, but they're going to hurt me. I think it is very clear that getting rid of the estate tax is going to be very beneficial to the Trump family.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am going to rule from the chair here that both Ali Velshi and Art Laffer look marvelous. I really appreciate both of you guys being here.
I was just fishing for a compliment.
You're great, Joy. You're great.
Debate. Great debate. Thank you guys for being here. We will bring you back. All right. Thank you very much. You can watch Ali Velshi on weekends, actually pretty much 24 hours a day on MSNBC, but specifically at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. You must watch Velshi and Rule. You'll be addicted like I am.